Hey guys, how y'all doing today? On a slow and steady afternoon. So what you're looking at here is two folders, solid gold. I actually tried to get gold or yellow, but the supermarket only had this light green, which matches the engine anyway. So what this is actually a manual, service manual on the G88. How good is that? Some cowboy came over a few days ago, and we were leaning on the truck and we were talking about this and that, and he just happened to Google oil capacity for TD 100, and then all this came up, and everything stopped right there, and he started, I don't know, what do you call it, downloading or taking screenshots of every page you could get. And so I said to him, I tried all that kind of stuff, and it turns out that he's got some kind of way fancier phone than I do, and maybe that's the deal. So I went and got these two folders, and I just spent maybe the last hour and a half putting all these pages in. But it was very difficult because these, at first I didn't think that these, so I'm still having trouble with it. I didn't think that these, I thought maybe they were just plastic leaves, that maybe you lay on the information. There was no slots or pockets. And then it's just that the pockets were the plastic is so thin, you won't be able to see it, but I can explain it to you. See the separation there? The pockets were so thin that I had to use that window tint technique, where you put a piece of tape on the one side and a piece of tape on the other side, and then you pull the two apart. It's the only way I could separate them. But anyway, I thought maybe some of you would be interested just to leaf through some of this with me. But I really haven't looked at it that much myself. But it's not a really detailed manual, but it's some information is better than none information. So what I'm calling it is a leg up manual, which it really is. It's very good. So it starts at the beginning. Let's see, I think I got those two pages back to front. Yeah, I did. I have to switch them around. But it starts at 4x2. And you can see somebody wrote some information. So I don't know where these pages came from. Whoever put them on the internet, greatly appreciated. Whoever you are, thank you so much. This is like another Christmas present. But you can see back in the day, the price of this truck, 4x2, $19,649 with tax. And then right underneath it says 16 speed gearbox, $350, which is what I have. I have a 16 speed. But it starts like that. Information on the 4x2. Some of the pages are double. And there's also like a few pages missing. Like throughout 83 pages, there's probably about 5 or 6 pages that are missing. But like I said, some information is better than none information. So it goes to 4x2. So let's just leaf through a little bit. And it's got all your basic information. I'll just give you a quick scan. It's hard for me to see, but it's very readable. Like I'll have to move the camera aside to read it, and then you can see there's a lot of details, like the bore and all that kind of stuff. And then it goes to 6x2, which is what I have, because I got the single drive with the tag axle. And a lot of good information. Transmission. So it's like it's 8, but you can split all gears. Just like an 18 is actually 9, but you can split all gears. So that's why they say 18. But it's basically a 9, you can split them all. So 6x2. A little bit of double. Well, it's not really double information. I can see extra stuff. But a lot of information. There actually is quite a bit of detail. It might be slightly better than a leg up manual. There's a lot of detail here, like all this. Can't really see it through the phone. I have to move the phone to see it, but you guys should be able to see it. See that? Dimensions and weights and yeah, it's really very good. Gear ratios, and then it goes to the 6x4. So it covers all 3 types. The 6x4, which is basically a twin screw, we call it. Some information on the, let me see if I can, where's my finger? On the TD100. I think there's 2 different types. I think there's a TD100 and a TD100A, which I think mine is. See that? That's the, see where it's sticking together? That's where I use the tape to make the pocket. accessible. Running equipment. You know, I was just glancing through and I saw something through here somewhere. It said something about a cab jack, and I was like, oh Lord. If we see it, we'll zoom in on it. But you remember I was complaining about having no cab jack. All your height and width dimensions and wheelbase information, and there she is. TD100. There's the front of the engine, which I've never seen before. Because who's going to pull a radiator out just to look at the front of the engine? There it is. You can see how very basic and clean they keep the front. Maybe that's the reason to, so you don't have to access it that much. Here's a double take. Oh, here we go, look. So you got your TD100B and TD100A. Inline 4-stroke overhead valves. TD100A. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. TD100A is a turbo compressor supercharged version. Turbo compressor supercharged version of the D. Oh, that's where I'm messing up. Look, it's a D100B. Okay, I've got the TD100A, turbo driven. Alright, so that's what I've got. Turbo compressor supercharged version. The pistons, fuel injection pump, camshaft, exhaust manifold, silencer, and exhaust pipe are therefore a modified design. Oh, wow. But in that video the other day, I was talking about how impressed I was with the engine. Just looking at what I can see. There's a lot of basic stuff, but a lot of good stuff. Compressor test, checking valve clearance, that's very important. I had no information on that. I had a few basic torque specifications, you know, for like rods and main bearings, but that's really all I had. Valve clearance. Alright, that's a double take right there. You see, that's the exact same. See, 42 and then 42, but that's okay. I just put them in there anyway, because why not? We just went over to the library and printed all this stuff off. There's your engine lubricating diagram of the direction and the flow. I don't know how long or detailed I want to make this video, but I just want to show you guys what I did manage to get. Thanks to some cowboy. Sorry about that. I'm starting to read a bit. Why? I should be concentrating on the video, but I'm starting to read some of it as I go. Changing the oil filter. Engine fuel system. Fuel pump. Now I notice there's not too much information on the fuel pump. But that's a pretty specified thing, I believe. Back in the day, it used to have to be a fuel pump mechanic, which was like a separate deal. Alright, I'll try to move it along a little bit. I'm going to make the video too long for you. Venting the fuel system, that's interesting. See, look at this deal right here. It's on the fuel pump. The fuel system should be vented when the engine is now or has been reconditioned. Fuel system has been serviced. The engine has not been in use for some length. Oh, that's very interesting. So something about this deal, you turn it, and it must be like a priming mechanism. I'll give you a follow-up on that. Cleaning the fine filters. Exhaust brake. Now, I don't think I have an exhaust brake, but I couldn't, I have seen a gadget that looks like that. I'm gonna have to look for that. I'm not sure. Cooling system. Beautiful. These pages are so slippery. I can barely grip them. Coolant, changing coolant, checking hose connections. Okay, so that's basically section A, I've called it. The first folder I called A, and then I called the second one B. I think this is the last page of section A. Belt diagram. Alright, let's take a look at section B real quick. There's a double take there. Turbo compressor. Maybe that'll explain a little bit about the supercharged thing to me. Checking the exhaust manifold for leakage. I did loosen off the exhaust manifold. There's more news on that, on what's happening with TD100. But I'll get to that next time when I get a more definite answer. Like a tried and proven answer. Basic information on switches, fuses, headlights. See, some is better than none. Power transmission. Some information is always better than none. There's the hydraulic clutch reservoir that I showed you in that one video. I think it was called Viking International, I think. Section view of the transmission, or gearbox, they called it in the day. Double take transmission. More transmission, different fluids. Look at that, there's a filter in the gearbox. And then the rear end, which I did a video for Philip just the other day. So this is the double reduction one, which is what I have. You can tell by these deals in the side here with the extra bolts compared to the single reduction. So good information for me there. See, there's the single reduction there. You see there's no extra section for the double part. Alright, and we're coming to the end, I think. Yeah, page 83. And there's the ends of your drive axle. Wait a minute. Let me turn back here real quick. Yeah, I guess so. The end of your drive axles. So it looks like you gotta change the oil in these too. Changing oil, rear axle. And this is just your final drives. The last page I have. If you have a 6x4 or twin screw. But isn't that great, guys? Information. Let's go around here and take a look at that axle real quick. Huh. I don't know. I can't relate right now. I don't know, guys. I'll have to work on that. Figure that out. I used to know somebody that used to say, figure it out all the time. Which was a very good answer. I would say, well, what are we going to do with that? And what are we going to do with this? And she would say, well, we'll figure it out. Now and then I say to myself, figure it out. That's into the transmission. Oh, yeah. The title. President Putin and Trump. So you know this ain't a political channel. I'm not too interested in politics. But I am interested in leaders, you know, like back in history and all that kind of stuff. I do have an interest in some of that stuff. But I remember, I think it was back in 2016, Trump was saying that he likes trucks. And I forgot how the conversation came up, but I think he was talking about the trucking industry. And he was saying that he likes trucks. He's got a thing about trucks, you know? Which a lot of guys do. And it's probably because of all these construction days, you know, dump trucks and concrete trucks and all that kind of thing. So then I started thinking to myself, I wonder if Putin likes trucks. And I started wondering about that. So I was, first I started thinking about trucks, Trump and trucks. And then I started thinking to myself, I wonder if Putin likes trucks also. He seems like that kind of guy, you know, like he would like, you know, like airplanes and trucks and all that kind of stuff, you know, like ships and engines. And he just seems like that kind of guy. All right, guys. Well, it's been a very good day. It was kind of hot today, but it's cooling down now, so I'm happy. So, vaya con Dios, and I'll see you then.